Greetings, cyberspace cadets. Welcome to another wonderful edition of the Creem Stream. That's right. Irate Prostate here. And it's the 13th edition of the Creem Stream, titled tentatively as Whack Friday. But before we get going on anything here, I'm going to introduce our guests. Other panelists should be joining me shortly, Akam and Dual Wield. First of all, ladies first, I'm going to introduce both of these guests have been with us previously, and we didn't get to shine the light on their talents and their genius as much as we'd like to have done. So I'm going to introduce Lady Thorn. Say hello.
Hello, my name is Lady Thorn. I read horror stories and sometimes stream movies with Mr. Irate Prostate and other people. It's quite fun. You should join us.
Yes. And Jack T. Ripper.
How's it going? This is Jack T. Ripper with KHIV News, and I practice bovine scatology and other ramblings.
Bovine scatology. That's
yes,
right.
Bovine scatology.
Looking for the bull and the shit. That's good.
That is correct.
Or the shit and the bull, as they say. Well, so everybody, it's what is known as, really we should call it Green Friday, but you know, Black Friday, I think it's racist. We were talking about that earlier, about that it's a racist term, and what do you guys fall on that?
I stay out of the battle zones on Friday after Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah,
I heard that, man.
I stay well the hell away. But you know where the term comes from? I'm so full of like these little stupid anecdotes.
Go for it.
Black Friday actually is a term because a lot of the retailers, they spend most of their year in the red buying an overhead and whatnot, and Black Friday actually would put them back into the black.
Got you.
So it has to do with finances and not race.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. You know, I was thinking Green Friday because of money, but see, but the balancing the books sounds a lot more logical. Yes,
but we can call it Black Friday now because looking at all the videos, you know, people streaming today, all the violence and the fights, and you know, people, you know, pushing everybody down in the trampolines.
It's suitable for another reason.
Yes, it's very horrible out there.
Yeah,
you know, the first experience, you know, was back in what, 85, 86, whenever the Cabbage Patch Dolls came out.
Oh, yes.
I remember that, man. That was just I mean, everybody had to have one. And people were getting in fist fights, Toys R Us. I remember that like it was yesterday.
Oh yes, it was horrible. You know, I was a kid at the time, so you know, it was big news because it was like the first national televised news story about the violence of holiday shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it only got worse.
Well, it started out, you know, with people fighting over toys and stuff, and you know, and then they started having these sales, and then they started opening their stores, you know, at earlier and earlier in the morning, and then they started, you know, I mean, it got to a point of where they were opening it on, you know, now they, you know, Black Friday technically begins on Thanksgiving afternoon about 2:30 or 3 o'clock, you know, right after, you know, everybody eats and stuff, man. It's like you know, people head out to the mall and, you know, fight over parking places, you know, first, you know, so they get, you know, getting that pugilistic, you know, attitude, and then they go to the stores and they're all fighting each other for the deals. So that's just good old American, you know, we gotta have it because we gotta have it. We're consumers, and that's what we do. We consume.
Yep. You know, just like in that movie They Live, you know, all the little billboards that says obey, consume.
Consume, right. Exactly. Yep. As a matter of fact, a lot of the stuff on my old Facebook page was nothing but that stuff. That was before I gotten into the YouTube stuff and before I discovered Tonka. See, tonight's guests were supposed to be Tonka and Vamp Candy, and because of what happened with my last week's guest, Geek Thulu, and his Kumite with Chambers of the Heart and Bass Mama, and I can't remember who else showed up, but Joy Sparkles, BS. Yeah,
What a
Oh,
dumpster
God.
fire.
yeah, it was, and it went 5.5 hours Sunday night, and that knocked Tonka off of his sleep, and he'd been spending all week trying to get it together, get that sleep back, and he just passed out early this evening, and there's no waking him up. He's probably still just zonked out snoring as we speak.
Yeah,
So,
it's hard to be a manager of something like that.
but yeah, man, and to keep the hours that like that he's been keeping. So, so I rescheduled him for not next Friday, but the Friday after that. So we've got them penciled in.
Yeah, he's pretty good about if he can't show up that day, he'll make sure he fixes a day he can.
Yeah, and next Friday I've got this gentleman. I don't know if you're familiar with the quartering. He's kind of the newly anointed by Bering and Sargon. He's a guy that he seems like he's a big Magic the Gathering person, but he's been reporting a lot on doing a lot of reporting and opinion on everything that's been going on lately, from the Amos Yee stuff to that. He did like a little expose on the that stolen 3D headpiece, the virtual VR headgear. You know what I'm talking about?
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. So yeah, I recommend y'all check out his channel because it's hot, and he's been tagged as an up and coming star. So, once you get the nod from Sargon, you've been blessed.
Right.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
Unless you don't take advantage of it like some people do.
Well,
Veiled shot at people.
No need to veil them here. We got 8 viewers. Oh, all right. So, anybody got anything they want to talk about? We could talk about what we did Monday night because it was really fun, and I'm really excited to be able to do it again. Why don't you give a little backstory as to what happened? And
so, due to all the drama and drama that's been going on YouTube, guys, I decided I was going to start a chill kind of let's watch a movie and chat type stream on my own channel to kind of be the counter to all of that. And last Monday, Irate was on with me. We were watching the second half of The Man Who Laughs, which is a movie I did not realize it was as long as it was. And it was really enjoyable. So we've decided we're going to be doing that with him as the co-host at least once a week at midnight.
I'll watch that. I know Reading Ren on Friday nights, her and Igor, they do their movie night watching stuff like that every Friday night. So I catch a little bit of that every time.
Yeah, I've been on that once. It's actually really fun.
It really is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we were talking about, midnight Central is a really good time. And especially for the West Coast, that's like 10 p.m. on the West Coast, which is really 9 o'clock-ish, because they're kind of like New York. They're on New York time. So that's a good time to be doing what we're doing, I think.
Probably going to catch some of the early risers in England as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, and if you've got good taste and you're into horror, that's one of the few things I do know like quite a bit about is horror, and especially old horror. I've just been obsessed with.
Oh yeah, with what's that, Max Schreck and Lon Chaney Jr., all that stuff, Bela Lugosi. Yeah. I love that stuff.
Right, and Gwynplaine, the main character in The Man Who Laughs, I was mistaken in thinking that it was Lon Chaney Sr.
About 3/4 of the way through, I finally went and looked at the IMDb page, and I'm like, "That's Conrad Veidt."
It's Conrad Veidt. It was Conrad Veidt, and he happens to be the star in The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which is the one we're doing Monday night, which is maybe the I would say it was the what word am I looking for? I want to say iconic template for what ended up being the Frankenstein films, the man and this creature that he has control over. And it's a great movie. And I love the way that he took the backgrounds and made it this very dreamlike, angular, almost cubistic. The backgrounds look almost like a Picasso painting, and that was at that point, Cubism was just hitting as the art form, and of course, there was already the budding in the the German people that there was all this art was coming out of Berlin, and there was the Berlin School and the Bauhaus School, and eventually this stuff would all get tagged with the degenerate stamp when the Nazis come into power and stuff, but it's just a really beautiful movie, and it's just it works from the moment it starts to the moment it ends, and it just grabs my attention every time.
The character makeup, when I was looking at some of the stills from it, I'm doing a little bit of research.
Yeah.
Hello, welcome. But let me finish the thought and I'll say hello. But the makeup reminds me of a lot of what, oh god damn it, what's his name? What Tim Burton does.
Yeah, I can definitely see him being extremely influenced by by those early German silent films. Yeah.
Now wasn't, oh God, whoever played in Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, wasn't his prosthetic makeup, didn't that almost deform him or something like that? I had read that several years ago.
Sounds about right for the time period.
All right, there's the one. All right, there's the Barrymore version, which was all him contorting his face. And then there was the famous one with Frederick March as the actor.
I think that's the one.
And that's the first one. Yeah, where I can't even remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but he was the guy that did all that makeup, the Frankenstein and all that stuff. And it was the dental implants that he was using. If you look, the teeth are all fucked up and stuff. The dental implants really hurt his mouth really bad, and he was having bleeding gums and stuff. Also, that they didn't know how to use. I don't think they had any dental appliance materials at that point in time, but that's what they would use later on.
A lot of the actors, especially for the horror movies, anyone that did a lot of makeup sometimes sacrificed their health for the role. I think Boris Karloff, didn't he develop like knee and back problems from the shoes?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. We sure did.
Because they were so fucking heavy.
Well, and he was so tall too, and a lot of the times that they didn't have shoes that would fit his feet, so and they would even for his regular roles. The stock shoes that they had on set, that they were so cheap, they weren't even going to go out and get him a pair of shoes that were his size, right? So they'd shove his size 12 feet into a pair of 9.5s. You can imagine how painful that would have been for him. And then the Frankenstein, the boots that they made for him, that was one of the few things, but those were wooden, and the outside was the only thing that look decent. It was really just a just a shoddy work job, kind of thrown together. Yeah,
It was
and
a platform with leather on top. That's about it.
Yeah, exactly. And they raised him up. I think it was 3 or 4 inches. 3. I'm going to say 3. Well, Occam, dude.
Yep.
What's up?
Well, I don't know. My computer's been doing some interesting things the last couple of days.
Oh, that's never good.
It hasn't become sentient and decided to be Skynet, has it?
No, it's just doing weird stuff where I'm I don't know, it's like I'll be doing something and then like it might, I don't know, like earlier I was playing a game on a Steam game and then it just randomly powered down and restarted in the middle of the game.
Is it overheating or anything?
I don't know. It just randomly rebooted with a little Dell thing and just started all over again. I don't know why. I don't really have an explanation, but it's been doing it's okay most of the time, but there'll be these little patches where you'll have periods of weirdness and stuff where it just starts doing weird whacked out stuff and then it gets better and then it does it again. I don't know. It's just kind of on and off.
When you say weird whacked out, what do you mean?
Like everything will just get slow on it. Programs, you'll try to boot up a game or a program or something and it'll take forever, or maybe it will just never pop up and then you got to keep retrying. Maybe you restart your computer and
that's interesting because last week when I was on the Devil's Advocates, I could hear people talking. And it got to the point of where the people that were on the show with me could hear it too. And it ended up, they went away when I cut off Discord. And I didn't have anything open. I didn't have any microphones or anything open in Discord. I didn't think I had Discord open, but it was open. And I've been reading some stuff about how people can hack going through Discord. Because there's a lot of insecure. If you've got it hooked up and you don't have it, if you don't have your firewall set a certain way, you could be vulnerable to hack attacks. I would just check it out, and if you don't have it on there, you might want to scan it for malware. Malware bites. But I've been wondering about it. See, last night, with all that shit that happened with Keemstar and Keemstar, Repzion,
iDubbbz, Miley Cyrus's Vivo.
Yeah,
I'm kind of out of the loop on that. What happened to Keemstar and iDubbbz?
Oh, their accounts disappeared.
Oh, Sticks and Hammer also got hit.
Yeah, Sticks and Hammer got hit. Yeah.
Oh, you mean their channels just up and
vanished, gone.
Bye-bye.
Did they?
Most of it's just back up now.
Yeah, YouTube was saying it was a program or a software glitch or something like that. But I think but in all honesty, I think they rolled out their new algorithm a little bit too early.
Yeah, you think so?
And struck too hard.
Yeah. I can see that. And at the beginning, it was like the lizards, the reptilians, or whatever they're called.
Lizard crew.
Yeah, exactly. They were taking credit for it. And so people, Space was on. I can't remember what it was on last night. But it was Cognitive had that stream. Cognitive Thought with Repzion, because Repzion was in the middle of a damn stream, and then it just went boom, and then, and then it was the channel was completely gone, and so Cognitive Thought, put up a stream and started saying, well, I just tried to get in touch with Repzion, showed up, and failure. So they were all talking about this stuff, and that's when Base Mama came in and said that she was in a huge chat, and it was they were saying it was a hack. And that doesn't surprise me either way, whatever happened. But it was like Miley Cyrus and Conan O'Brien. That's fucking random there. That to me, that's just like I have no idea what they've got. What the Lizard Crew would have. You know what I'm saying? That just everything else makes sense. But those two going down didn't make any sense. So that didn't fit with the hack narrative to me. But it doesn't surprise me, man. Because it's like the machine that I heard that I was hearing that stuff on, and I tried to reformat the disk, and I cannot load any other software on it. So something fucked up about it. I don't know. But anywho, so Jack, what about your week? What's it been like for you, man?
My week's been pretty inactive. I mean, just normal work, and I had today off, and just really wanted to stay out of the battlefields. I didn't want to have to deal with the zombies going deals all day long, and then trying to kill each other. So I survived the Holocaust today.
Cool. What would you do?
What, me?
Yeah.
Today
yes. Well, yeah.
Well, earlier I went on Steam and bought a few games that I wanted to buy, and then I also worked this evening.
Cool. What about yesterday? How was your turkey day?
Yesterday, I was over at my grandmother's house and had some really good food, and that was kind of fun. And I was kind of basically there all day.
Cool.
Wasn't really in the loop, Twitter-wise and tech-wise, which is why I missed all the stuff with iDubbbz and Keemstar, I guess.
Right. But I'm sorry if I interrupted you, Jack. I was going to read some stuff, and then if y'all want to talk amongst yourselves about it, I'm real tired, man. I did the thing with Chris Orsky yesterday, and I don't know it. I'm kind of bummed out about it because I mean I'm getting some looks afterwards, but during the thing it was maximum 30 people in the stream. And that kind of bummed me out, because I thought maybe more people would have showed up, but hey. It is what it is, and in my gut, I can say it was a really good interview, and we talked about some really important stuff. So on a gut level, level, I'm very proud of that work.
Yes, it was a very solid stream yesterday. You did it with Chris Worski.
Yeah,
I mean, there was no joking around, no tomfoolery or anything like that. It was a good, solid interview type stream, and every once in a while, you just need those type of streams to break out of the monotony of the political correct type news going out there and everything else that goes on in the world.
Thanks, man. I appreciate hearing that because, and speaking of, my computer froze. My brand new computer. It froze right when like the thing started. It was like 10 after, and it took me 5 minutes. I had to reboot my computer, and the damn thing stayed open and everything. And Chris just kept rolling with it, man. He kept doing it, like a pro. And I finally got back, and it was like we didn't miss a beat. He was fantastic.
So was that stream on Chris's channel?
It was on my channel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so, and I put up some word on the Worski Ghetto channel that's on Twitter. That's kind of an interesting place to hang out. A lot of people trying to pick up young ladies that seem to be like they're 14 or 15 to me, but I don't have a dog on that hunt. But it was really you know, when you work in a business like that, man, it's really taxing on you, and it's almost like combat, you know. And when you can find somebody that's been through a similar experience that you have, you know, there's like that, almost like that camaraderie. So if anything, I definitely made a good friend with Chris, and I did, and I did see today that you got that email I sent. I mean, that text I sent you, didn't you? Did I send that to you? Malcolm?
A text message about what?
Well, I'll,
Specifically?
Somebody follow me on Twitter. I'll tell you. Well, Andy Worski started following me on Twitter.
Oh,
I was like,
I don't think I got a text message like that.
That was tripping. That was crazy. I saw that. I'm like, oh yeah. So that put me in a good mood today. So, but it's been a strange day. I feel worn out.
Yeah,
Mr. Irate, I know you and Chris had talked about your war stories from your, you know, I guess working in specific type of hospitals, and you working in them, and I can see the viewpoint from the patient side. I have been there with that. You know, I told you the story, you know, before the stream went on, but I want to get this out a little bit.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I mean, you know, people just say, you know, the mental health, you know, crisis going on here in America, you know, it is real. I have seen some really bad things, or some patients in the hospitals there. I have been in and out several times. I myself here many years ago had a psychotic break, had a 6-hour SWAT standoff, had to be extracted violently, spent 4 months in a county jail, and then 2 months in the psychiatric hospital until they found out what the real reason was. And it came down to, my issue was lead poisoning. I have done a lot of sheet metal work in the past 20 years and used a lot of lead solder. And over time, it had built up into my system and, you know, made me get violent and not think clearly enough. And I'm sure I still have some residual mental defects going on because of that, because you're never 100% after all that stuff. So if somebody does have a mental issue, you know, don't, you know, ignore it. I mean, it's very important not to ignore something like that, especially if they're, you know, crying out for help. You know, definitely have the doctors do a full blood panel of any heavy metals, because, you know, as we've seen up in Flint, Michigan, you know, with the lead poisoning or the lead crisis up there and other areas around the nation, you know, definitely go out and have, you know, that blood work done. Don't be afraid. Don't be bashful. Don't be shy about it. I mean, I almost lost my life, you know, and that's what I wanted. It was just so painful. You know, it was going to be a suicide by cop ordeal.
Wow.
Yeah, it really was. That was the first thing that came out of my mouth. And I don't remember a whole lot about the ordeal, you know, but it was not pretty. It wasn't pleasant. But they've, you know, once the doctors realized what was going on, they, you know, treated me properly, got the, you know, heavy metals out of my system, and everything's been A-okay up to this point.
Well, good.
But yeah, I have seen the real mentally ill patients, and it's not a pretty sight.
It's
So
terrifying.
it really is. I've seen the people with the straitjackets and having to hold people down with the sedatives.
So
And
were you put in restraints like 4-point or 5-point?
no, I was not.
restraint?
No.
I wasn't either.
Man, that's some heavy shit too, isn't it, man?
Yeah, I
Yes,
actually
it
put
is.
on suicide watch as a teenager, but while I was in there, I saw, because it was like, it's a residential place for 18 and under, and I've seen like some truly violent people. Like, they scared me. I asked them, like, can you please put me in another wing, because I'm scared I'm scared the girl across the hall is gonna kill me in my sleep.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, she did. I still don't know her name. I have no idea who she was, but we were in the common room one day, and she just said, "I don't like you," and I just said, okay," and then she punched me in the face.
Yeah, that's interesting because one of the companies that I worked for when I was working with adolescents, they had a contract with a state that wasn't the state that I was in, right? But that state, part of their judicial system for people under the age of 18. This was like one of the stops. You had to do like this, and this to get out, right? And we were doing, going where I worked was in the middle of all that shit, right? And it was like, so you had kids that were really just, got caught smoking dope, and then you had kids that were, budding, murderers, and and people, in the, whole spectrum, but between violent, extremely violent criminals to to just kids that smoked a little too much dope and got caught, and and that was saw a lot of threats and stuff. As a matter of fact, I got threatened. One of the kids had taken a toothbrush and whittled it down to a shiv, and he had gotten out, and I was chasing him, and he just turned around, and this dude was like, had about 140 pounds on me, and about a foot, and he stood there like a bear and the thing was in his hand, and he said, you really want to come for this shit? And I said, you know what? No.
I'm good.
And I told him, I said, look, you can go, we're going to call the cops, and you're going to get caught, and and they're going to bring you back. And he said, well, I'm willing to take my chances. And so I didn't take my eyes off of him, but there was somebody behind me, and I told him, I said, go ahead and call the police. I did not. But $12 an hour is not worth dying for. So,
No, it's not. And I felt bad for the staff at the state hospital because they had to really deal with some horrible shit there. I mean, and they couldn't do anything really to the patients. I mean, if the patients hit them, they had to take the beating, and try to get them restrained. But other than that, there was nothing else that the staff could do. They couldn't strike, because of the patient's Bill of Rights.
Right, and you wouldn't want to. That's not a way to deal with it either. I remember I knew I was in like on a different planet when they're like, I'm going to this class, and they're basically showing me like judo techniques to restrain a patient, with basket holds and stuff like that. And I'm going like, why are they showing me this shit?
Then you understood.
Because, well, yeah, later I did, but up until then I had worked in a completely different, with a different level of patient, where they weren't like, violent or anything like that. They were just, just people that wanted to stop, using drugs and alcohol. And they were willing to do whatever that took to do that, so they were real cooperative and they worked really hard, and it was really a beautiful thing to see a person come in, and look horrible and have horrible shit going on in their life. And, and then, 40 days later, they look great. They're happy and they've got hope, and it's just interesting to see, what, and a lot of that's all because of insurance, man. I mean, when you boil down to it, they started calling the shots because they were paying the bills, and they said, they were literally telling people how to treat the people that were paying them, and they were, and they were ordered, the people. It was like, you had person X and they had this insurance, and their insurance was telling, therapists that they needed to be this, and this, and if they didn't, they weren't going to pay, right? and that they didn't need this, this, and this. They needed something completely different. You know, and no matter how hard they tried to explain that, they said, no, we've got to tick these boxes. You know? So anyway, you know, I mean,
10 boxes.
Yeah, that's what it was. Literally, would get down to in some places, or else, you know, they wouldn't pay. And then, you know, these poor people that were coming through there, you know, they would get stuck with these bills for, you know, $30,000-$40,000. A lot of money, you know. So this is like the real cheerful subject. I can see the viewers let you go down.
Well, I apologize. That's partially my fault, but you know,
no, not at all, man.
Just want to talk about that a little bit, you know, because it is important, especially in this day and age.
Well, and in this time of year, you know.
Oh yes, definitely. What is the seasonal affective disorder,
right.
And then people being away from their family, especially the military, the high rate of suicide in the military
right.
at this time of year. Oh my God, it's horrible.
People that lost loved ones during the year, you know, this is the time, you know, where it's supposed to be, you know, family getting together and stuff, and you know, people that I know that have lost people that they love, you know, they get real depressed and shit.
Yep,
and,
I know that feeling.
You know, and
I lost my grandmother last year.
On the Chris video that I did, I put the numbers to all these places, to the National Institute of Mental Health, and the suicide prevention, and several other different places for mental health. I'll go ahead. I'll list that. I'll copy and paste all that on this stream too. You know, when all said and done, so people do need help. I mean, because you know, people do take excellent care of their bodies, and if you're showing the symptoms of diabetes, or if you're showing the symptoms of leukemia, you know, you'd go to the doctor, right?
Yes.
You know, and what people don't understand is the symptoms. Some symptoms of leukemia and some symptoms of diabetes are symptoms of depression. So you know, it's just as important, because people don't understand that mental health is also a disease of the body, because it's a disease. It's part of the brain. The brain is part of the body. Therefore, it's all, you know, it's all medicine. You know, it's you know, they say that psychology is a pseudoscience, and you know, well, if you want to look at it that way, you can. But you know, neuropsychology is the cutting edge of what's going on now. You know, they're isolating, you know, where the brain, you know, what's going on in the brain when people have these, you know, these symptoms develop. So, you know, I see it as a physical thing. You know? It's a hard drive issue. That's the way I, you know, try to communicate it to people that I think need help. You know, if I run into somebody. And occasionally, you know, I'll see somebody, you know, and my gut will tell me that there's something going on with them, and I'll tell them that, you know, they might want to go see a doctor about that. You know, somebody that knows something about, you know, psychiatric stuff. You know, so.
See a shrink. Just go talk to somebody.
Exactly. And you know, and make sure you ask.
Static.
Huh?
Am I the only one hearing static?
I think it's somebody's moving their feet around or something. There's something rubbing, or that's what I was thinking. It stopped.
Yeah, I mean, most of the people that, you know, feel depressed or whatever, they're just needing a friend to talk to. Somebody, not a close friend and not a family member, but somebody that can look at their life story, you know, what they're trying to say as objectively as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And somebody, you know, sometimes, you know, people are just looking for somebody just to listen to them, you know, and that's all it takes. But I do recommend that if you do work with a professional, you ask them if they're working with a professional, because if they're not, they're more than likely going to be sick. And you know, you don't really want to work with somebody that's just going to, you know, absorb your sickness and get sicker. That's what I say. You know, can you point me to somebody who does see a therapist regularly? And that's the way I would operate it. And then, you know, and if anything, you might help them, you know, kind of start looking at themselves on a more realistic fashion, because you cannot do that business and not have it affect you in any way, shape, or form. It will, you know, has an accumulative effect, you know, just like heavy metals, you know, like arsenic or lead, you know, that it adds up over a period of time. And, you know, before you know it, you're flipping out, yelling at people. You don't know why, man. You're crying, and, you know, you just need help. So very.
Well, now we can get off to this depressing subject now. And let's start reading some news stories.
You want to?
Yeah, I was trying to bring some news stories up, and I just couldn't.
All right. Let's see. There was one that kind of tickled me, man. This guy in Florida, of course. It's in
Florida man.
Yeah.
Our favorite superhero.
Your typical Florida man story. Yeah, here it is. Let me pull it up now. Yeah. Okay, give it 1 second here. All right. Okay. If you're going to break into a vehicle, you typically want to make sure that it's not an unmarked sheriff's office vehicle and that there aren't deputies inside that vehicle. And that's exactly what happened last Wednesday in Pasco County, Florida. Several homeowners the previous night caught a man on a video as he tried to burglarize 7 vehicles on the street, you know, on the street in Trinity Oaks neighborhood. However, all the doors had been locked and nothing was stolen. The next day, this guy named Stephen Tidland, 49, tried to burglarize an unmarked Pasco County Sheriff's Office on Murrow Street in Newport Richey. At the time, the vehicle was occupied by a strategic targeted area response team, who probably arrested him. So
yes.
he doesn't even look in the car. He just opens the door, man. It's like, oh, good, I'm going to get some shit out of it now. If I can get some crack. And of course, there's like cops waiting on him, you know. Oh my God, what an idiot. Positively identified him as the man from the previous night, from the video. So yeah, he's fucked. he is now spending time at the in Hooskow.
Hooskow.
Yes, the old Hooskow. And then here's another one. Go ahead. You want to talk?
Let's see here. Flat Earthers plan to launch himself into homemade rocket just hit a speed bump.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, I saw that. I posted that to Twitter.
I've been following this guy. Yeah. Go ahead.
The California man planned to launch himself 1,800 feet high Saturday in a homemade scrap metal rocket in an effort to prove the Earth is flat. He said his postponing the experiment after he couldn't get permission from the FAA to conduct it on public land. so he's moving it like 3 miles down the road. But 1,800 feet, that's not going to get him very high, and you're not going to get the curvature of the Earth. Sorry, guy, you fail.
I'm like, dude, all you needed to do, just go to Chicago and buy a ticket to go up into the Sears Tower. There you go, problem solved.
And then hopefully jump off because you know the Earth is flat. Yes, with their theory of the flat earthers, the ground will rush up to them.
Yes.
Because there's no gravity.
Oh, right? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was just I was watching a thing where Cognitive Thought was looking at this video of this guy that was trying to explain how the moon went through its phases, and
Oh God.
and he was
Oh,
he had,
tinfoil hat time is so good.
it is funny as shit. And I was saying, you know, in my head, I was going, God, they've got it wrong. They've got it wrong. It's just the moon is a burnout light bulb, just like the sun is a light bulb, but it's not burnt out. And they can't make a light bulb that's big enough to exchange it, right? And the ladder that they would need to change the light bulb, they can't build it because they don't have trees that are tall enough to make, you know, to make the ladder. So, I don't know. It sounded better when I said it earlier in my head.
And somehow transparent like paper because logic.
because science.
Because I need it to be. And that dude knew he was lying. That's the shitty thing.
Yeah, that stupid that whole deal was, you know, he took a Dixie cup and he's like, you know, okay, whatever, man. Oh, that was crazy. All right, so here's a thief. All right, let me, if I've got my information from it correctly, this is in Fort Worth, Texas. Okay. All right. This guy breaks into this house. Okay. And he's there to steal stuff, but he can't find any way to steal anything, right? So he sets the house on fire. And as the fire department gets called to the place, and he takes the fire chief, he steals the fire chief's car to get away, right? And then he, of course, wrecks it because he's obviously fucked up on something. But I mean, just that whole weird, this is just the weirdest shit I've ever heard. Yeah, a thief stole an SUV belonging to the Fort Worth Fire Department at the scene of a house fire in Fort Worth Thursday and crashed into gas pumps nearby. While firefighters were extinguishing the blaze, the thief jumped into the battalion chief's SUV and drove off.
Oh, geez. He thought it was a hot ride, didn't he?
Oh, great.
Well, I think the idea was he was going to get something, you know, and steal something from the house. I guess, right? And then he didn't have any way to transport it. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and then it shows the picture. There's a picture of the stolen. He's just ran over this gasoline pump. It's crazy. And he looks like he's had the shit beat out of him too in his mugshot.
Oh, I'm sure the cops had a field day with him.
Yeah, exactly. And Uma Thurman says to Harvey Weinstein, "You don't deserve a bullet." And this is, I guess, what is this? Her Thanksgiving wish yesterday says, "Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, except you, Harvey Weinstein, and all your wicked conspirators. I'm glad it's going slowly for you, but you don't deserve the bullet." She wrote in a post on Instagram. Happy Thanksgiving. She said, "You don't deserve a bullet." She said, "Stay tuned." She says, "I don't have a tidy soundbite for you because I'm not a child, and I have learned that when I have spoken in anger, I usually regret the way I express myself. So I've been waiting to feel less angry, and I'm ready. And when I'm ready, I'll say what I have to say." But I was wondering if it was going to be something from Kill Bill about using the sword, because doesn't she say that to Bill at some point? She says, "I'm not going to kill you with a bullet, but I will use you will feel the blade of my sword," or something like that. I can't remember. Hell, it's been so long since I've seen the movie.
I don't know.
And then in Paris, France, police tweeted that a tiger had gone on the loose in the 15th district of Paris. And then not long after that, they said the danger had been eliminated. It's a 200 kilogram tiger. What, 200 Ks would be what, about 600 pounds?
Something like that.
600,
550, 600.
Yeah. Tram traffic was suspended in the area. and residents called emergency services. They spotted the animal on the run just before 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It was a very big tiger. Yeah, 600 pounds. Yeah, that's a big damn tiger. That's a big cat. Yeah, but they didn't explain that. Said its owner brought this animal down with a shotgun. Uh-oh. Oh, they killed it. They dropped it with the 12 gauge.
That's unfortunate. Poor kitty.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, the cat was only doing what cats do, and that's hunt large prey.
Yep. You are large prey.
I mean, they should have sent it over there to those no-go zones in Paris.
Exactly. That's exactly, man, you read my mind. I was thinking if he had only gone the other way.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not saying anything illegal here or anything. I'm just saying it should have wandered in there.
Exactly. It's taking out some of the truck drivers of peace.
Yes.
And Arizona Lottery pulls a specific machine because of duplicate numbers. Oh, shit. So the most recent incident involved the machine choosing the same numbers from an in-state game 3 times over 7 days. The lottery's announcement on Wednesday said the winning tickets would be honored, but that refunds or exchanges are being offered on losing tickets at that pick 3 game. Oh, wow. Been nice to have won that money. Strange. And then in Yakima, that's Alaska, isn't it? This is Washington, Washington State. This is in LeGrand, Washington. It says authorities say a man who was drunk and naked and having sex with a woman while driving south of Tacoma missed a curve and struck a tree.
Wait, while driving?
Yes. He was drunk and naked, buck-ass naked with a woman, getting it on, doing the dirty thing, doing the nasty, and driving at the same time. Hashtag distracted.
That's amateur. He's an amateur.
No shit, man. It takes a real man to be able to bust a nut and drive at the same time, man. You know you're a real man when you've done that.
I've done it on many occasions, doing 70 miles an hour down the interstate.
I'm with you, my friend. There's something going on with this one. I think the alcohol might have had something to do with it too. So Washington State Patrol spokeswoman Brooke Bova says that the crash happened about 6 p.m. On the mountain highway near LeGrand. It's 6 in the evening. She said that the woman who was also naked was hospitalized with broken bones. And it says her 3-month-old child in the back seat was uninjured. Holy shit.
Wait. What? They were having,
there's the child in the back
having
seat.
carnal knowledge with the child in the back seat while drunk.
They buried the lead on that one, man, didn't they?
Holy crap.
Shit. Man.
A child in the vehicle at the same time.
Holy shit.
What the shit?
Oh my God. Child endangerment, indecent exposure.
This is where they just like literally throw the book at somebody. We're just gonna throw everything at the wall and see how long we can put you in jail.
I mean, for God's sakes, News Tribune reports that the driver was arrested and taken to Pierce County Jail on suspicion and felony driving under the influence, vehicular assault, and child endangerment, according to Bova. She says that the man has 3 prior DUIs. Yeah, it's about time to yank that motherfucker's license. Witnesses told responding troopers that both man and woman were naked when they left the vehicle. Holy shit. So they crashed the car and they both run away, leaving the kid in the car. That is some fucked up shit.
See, and then there's people that like want kids so badly, and these two had one.
Yep.
What the shit? Life ain't fair.
No, there isn't.
See, and this is where I support retroactive abortion.
No, just give the kid to a gay couple.
No, retroactive abortion is where you take adults and just euthanize
Oh,
them.
you meant the adults, not the kid. Why did I go
Yeah,
there?
not the kid.
Holy shit.
Yes. Retroactive abortion.
Right.
No, just take the kid away and give it to a gay couple. They'll probably take better care of it.
Probably.
Here's the thing I always say about gay couples. At least you know they really, really want the child. Because they can't have one on their own.
Yeah. Yeah, look at,
Gay couples and infertile couples. At least you know they're going to be dedicated.
Exactly. Yeah. And my Uzi Q, she was raised as an adopted child. And, she, and all this shit today with the birth mother being involved and all that stuff in the kid's life and shit.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, that's my mom, the lady that, nursed me when I was sick, that taught me how to ride a bicycle, that cooked my breakfast, that fixed my boo-boos when I cut my knee or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
She goes, that's my mom, that's my mother, the lady that gave birth to me, even though she met her later on at my urging, she just felt no connection to her at all.
I recently met my birth mother. She's a nice lady, but, she's just a nice lady.
Right.
I have nothing against her.
Right.
And, that is my mom. She's the person that raised me. That is my dad. Everybody's like, oh, but who's your real mom? Like, no, that is my real mom.
Correct.
The other one's just birth giver. Because, that is your parent. And I have a friend who was put into foster care, and I think the state letting her mom have access to her was the worst possible thing they could have done. Her mom is a dumpster fire.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she should never have been allowed back, because she's like, oh, I'm going to block the adoption, but I didn't really want my daughter in the first place, but I'm going to block the adoption because I want attention. That's how that went. That was fun. Some people shouldn't be parents.
No doubt.
Yeah, she was so self-centered that she was fine with her daughter being in foster care and didn't try at all to get her back. But then once her mom wanted to actually adopt her, she tried to legally block the adoption in court. Because why? Because she felt like it.
That's just stupid.
Yeah, because she's a narcissist. Everything needs to be about her. And people like that shouldn't have kids, because then it stops being about you. Now it's about your kid, and not where you're going to get your next bit of meth, in her case, or whatever other kind of attention that she wanted.
If y'all keep talking, I need to.
I saw that.
Read this. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, this almost sounds like, actually needing a license to have children, which in some cases I would support that. I mean, if you're not financially stable, if you're not mentally stable, get a license. I support getting a license for children. I know it sounds, oh, you can't do that, then you're taking away your, people's freedoms and stuff. You got to think about the child that you're bringing into here and into the world. I mean, and what chance are they going to have?
If I may pose an idea, if you've ever been convicted of a crime like neglect or something, you should definitely need a fucking license. You've already fucked up once.
Yeah.
You've already had one taken away. We're going to make sure that you can actually handle the next one.
Exactly. I mean, there has to be something to prevent this from happening. Or what was it? One of the old videos where this woman had 15 kids, and she's like, well, who's going to take care of my kids if they take away my welfare? She was living out of a hotel for a while. I was like, how can you have that many kids and not have a, support from your, and then it's like, okay, wait a minute now. I'm not going to get into her skin color. Don't want to be racist or anything.
It has nothing to do with it. So.
No. But she's like, who's going to take care of my kids?
Not you. Anyone but you. You're terrible.
Yes.
Literally anyone but you. No, it's that, and she's not thinking about her kids. She's using them as some kind of leverage to guilt people into giving her more money, and that's so shitty. Oh, and I don't want to say it's like, no, you're not allowed to have kids, because that's also shitty. So then what do? Because the problem with telling certain people that they're not allowed to have kids is who becomes the arbiter of that.
Exactly. Then you fall down the slippery slope of what the Chinese government does when you want to have another child.
Or even like what they did in the 70s, where they're just like, yeah, so we're just going to sterilize these black women and not tell them.
Exactly.
Like, no shit, that's a thing that happened in North Carolina. Look it up.
Yeah. That whole, it reminded me of this. Remember Andrew Dice Clay, Jack?
Yes, I do.
You remember that? There once was an old lady who lived in a shoe. She had so many children. Her uterus fell out.
Yep. That's how I remember it.
15 children. 15 children.
Holy crap, it's a vagina, not a clown car.
Exactly. It was like that. Yeah, remember that Duggars meme?
Yes. Oh my God.
It's a vagina, not a clown car, man. This is great.
Yes. And the Duggars are from my area.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love people that use it as like, well, I mean, then there's the Duggars. I'm like, are you really using the Duggars as an example of good parenting? Because if you are, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, now look at all the shitstorm that's happening with them over the past couple years.
Yeah,
well, they couldn't feed and clothe all those kids either. They needed kids to take care of the kids.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it. It's like the mom needed help. And then all that horrible stuff that happened to the girls, that was sad.
Yeah, oh God, that's so fucking terrible.
Yeah.
So what happens when you grow up repressed?
Right, exactly. That's what the biggest, and I've often discussed this with people, is one of the biggest problems with this country is the fact that it was settled by Puritans and shit, that were so hung up on sex, man. It was, if think about it, if we had a society that was like, more metropolitan about, our attitudes towards sex, like, like France or, some of the European states.
Shit would be so much better if people didn't see boobs is such a big deal.
No doubt, man. Something you saw at the beach, it was like, okay, yeah, everybody's got their shirt off. All right, cool. It's like, whatever, it's more comfortable. But actually, it's like Dr. Jordan Peterson. It's like, he says, give a man two circles and a triangle and they'd be transfixed for hours. There's something to it. I mean, it's like, it's like that. I don't know, man.
For a while, people were pointing out how Mike Pence won't be in the same room with another woman that's not his wife alone. And there's like, I don't know why you'd point that out, because it's fucking weird. Like, he doesn't, it is strange. And that's the whole idea, like, behind being very puritanical about sex and nudity. It does more harm than good.
I mean, our natural state as human beings is the naked state.
You're born naked. You're not born with clothes on.
That's
exactly.
Right.
And, you constrict the breathing of the skin by all these clothing, and it really does, oversensitize a person. The nerves are always active. And so if you're naked, you allow the skin to breathe. You feel more relaxed. It's easier on everybody.
Yeah, I actually posted recently. There's a thing on YouTube that is naked yoga. It is about the most unsexy thing I've ever seen, And I posted a tweet that said, I posted unpopular opinion, naked yoga is not sexual. And somebody said, I disagree. And I said, why? And they couldn't answer the question.
I mean, if they're lined up in it, like the rows in yoga, and you're looking at somebody's butthole, I mean, that's not very appealing if you're not sexually aroused, or if you're looking at a roast beef sandwich or a shriveled up twig and berry, you know?
Right?
I
Yeah.
mean, it's very unappetizing.
It's not like the context of sex is not there. It's just downward dog. It's not like dog style.
Yes.
And the girl doing it is not the most appealing. She's fine. She's average, but like, you know, she's not a
beautiful
porn star.
redhead. She is actually a pretty redhead. The one that I saw, it's like a.
And it's still not appealing.
Yes, I'm still thanking Andy Worski for that. Thank you.
Yeah. By the way, thanks, Andy.
Well, I mean, if you look at like more ancient societies like the Greeks and Romans and stuff, there a lot of their statues and architecture, like their art and stuff, had a lot of nudity in it, but it wasn't really like a sexual thing. It was just like I don't know, they just loved the human body, I guess. It was just kind of like they liked to depict like really fit, muscular, prime, you know, specimens of human bodies, I guess, just because it was kind of like a tribute to the gods, I think, or whatever they.
When they did their Olympic games, you know, they were done naked. You know, everything from wrestling to, you know, javelin throwing, you know, to racing, you know.
Yeah, all naked.
Yep.
I mean, even the word gymnastics, if I'm correct in this, means like gymnasium is a place of naked exercise.
That doesn't surprise me in the least.
I would love to just like be able to be naked at the gym. Honestly, the fucking shorts just get in the way. I started going to the gym again, and it's an issue. It would be easier. It just really would genuinely be easier. I don't have a problem with it. Everybody else has a problem with it.
I think it would be weird using exercise equipment naked.
Yeah, gymnasium. You're right, dude. It means it's from the Greek gymnasian.
Yeah, you know what? Oakum's right. I just thought of like so many problems with using modern exercise equipment naked, especially for women, like leaving snail trails and everything.
Yeah. God.
That's actually not hygienic at all.
Like, there's Occam Snail enters the picture once again.
Oh no!
No, but
you know, imagine dropping the weights.
Yeah, weights would be fun.
Yeah,
weights are fine. But you can't. It's like that. All that leather, especially if it's real leather. You know, if it's plastic, you can really clean it off. But leather, you know, is absorbent. Actually, it's, you know, it's porous, so you know it'll retain some type of fluid. No matter how hard you clean it, you know, it'll hold HIV. Not many people will tell you that, but it's true. When I worked in the hospital, they had us do cleanup, you know, back in the day when, you know, AIDS was a real scary, you know, possibility when you came into contact with blood. And I don't know, man, the way that OSHA taught us how to clean up after, you know, coming in contact with a spill like that made me wonder what they weren't telling everybody, because they had us jumping through all kinds of weird hoops.
I've been told that it's actually really hard to get AIDS that way.
Yeah.
You'd almost have to actively try.
I worked at the local VA as a housekeeper aide. That's what they call the janitors. And, you know, dealt with all the patients there, and the shit, urine, blood, everything. I mean, we were, you know, had to gown up, get into some of these places. And it was, you know, you use MRSA, TB, scabies, all that wonderful stuff. So we had to clean this stuff, you know, top to bottom. And it took about an hour to do a room. And we were using like 30% concentrated bleach mix.
Yeah. So, and that's not, and that's not even doing like like an operating room. which is
No, that's even worse.
That's not exactly, man. That's a lot
I
more
was
labor intensive.
I was a patient transporter, and when I started doing the whole thing, they told me that I should be more worried about MRSA than AIDS, because that will like eat a hole in your body.
Well, you see, at that point, they hadn't come up with the cocktail. In the cocktail that they had, it was not near as cost effective, or as, wasn't that cheap. So it's like, I'm talking like, like mid to late 90s, when all that was.
Yeah, I started working as a transporter when AIDS was no longer a death sentence. So that's always nice. Yeah. Oh, did you hear it stopped being the #1 cause of death in Africa? That's nice.
Well, that's good. It's amazing how much energy they poured into getting rid of that thing, but people are still having heart attacks and cancer,
Oh yeah, and malaria dropped off the top 5 too.
Yeah. We had cures for that, that the malaria. We had a quinine,
it was mostly killing children, so.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the good thing, isn't malaria one of those things where you can only get it once and then you don't get it again?
No, as a matter of fact, I was going to say Christopher Lee, the actor, when he was during World War II, he got it 6 times in 1 year.
Oh, fuck, that sucks.
Yeah. So it's just it's the mosquito, that carries it.
And that's why a lot of the blacks have that sickle cell anemia, is because the malaria parasite can't survive in the red blood cells like that.
Right. Mediterranean, exactly. So it's a good thing, and for people living in on those coasts and stuff. But if if you're not living that, it's very painful. I actually had a friend that had that when I was a younger person. Went to college with a guy, and he complained, his joints, his elbows and his knees, man, it would hurt every once in a while. He would get to a point where he couldn't move. He had to.
You basically die of exhaustion.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not so much the parasites; it's the exhaustion from the muscle shakes and the spasms.
Yeah. Oh, I was talking about sickle cell anemia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just like pain.
Yeah.
Horribly painful.
But
this is so cheerful.
What are you doing, Occam?
What are you doing? Scrolling through old PewDiePie videos.
Why?
He's queer for PewDiePie, man.
No, I am not, dude.
God,
I am a huge fan, but it does not mean I'm gay for PewDiePie. Okay.
I have never watched any of PewDiePie's videos.
What?
Or Kingstar.
PewDiePie just hit 58 million today, dude. He's like literally been the top of YouTube since 2013. And you've never seen a PewDiePie video.
Nope, I've just heard about him. I said, I want to stay away from that joker.
Yeah.
PewDiePie is amazing, dude.
Come on. Keep talking.
One of the funniest. It's one of the funniest YouTubers I've seen.
Yeah. Tell me about him.
Well, I mean, come on, haven't you heard of him before? Or
I mean, I know who he is and stuff. I just want to hear your take on PewDiePie, and why all of a sudden you've become obsessed with watching his stuff.
What I've been obsessed with watching his stuff for ever, since 2012 or whatever.
Okay.
Because I found his stuff when he was just becoming really famous, back when I was in 8th grade and stuff like that, in 2012, and then I just kept watching his stuff. And then he just kept growing bigger and bigger. I remember when he only had a few million or whatever, and now he's 58 million subscribers. So I don't know. He's just grew really insanely big. So when I started watching him, he was like a big YouTuber, but he wasn't like at the top yet. And then like he became like the #1 YouTuber in like December of 2013.
Dude, 58 million, that is just fucking sick. That is just...
Well, I mean, to put it into comparison, the second biggest YouTuber is way above most other YouTubers, but the second biggest, I think, only has 31 million. And then you compare PewDiePie, the #1, 58 million to 31. So, like, even between the top two YouTubers, like, PewDiePie is, like, well above... Like, there is no... he has no competition. Let's put it that way. Like, there is no legitimate competition for PewDiePie.
Well, dude,
as of right now.
Yeah, I agree, man. The dude is just... He's poning it.
Someone else could come along and grow just as big, but like for now, I don't see anybody that like is even close to posing a threat to you know, his position as the #1 YouTuber.
You ever go on his Social Blade and check it out?
I think his Social Blade rating is like an A.
Of course.
I see somehow. I don't think that's right. It doesn't seem
well,
right.
Here's the thing, though. He has a really bad... Even though he has a lot of subs, he has one of the worst... And it's actually because he has so many subs, because his sub count is so obscenely high compared to most other YouTubers. Like, a lot of YouTubers will have a few million subs, and then they'll get, like, 1 million views on a video. PewDiePie is 58 million, and he only gets about 1 or 2 million views on the average video. Which is really bad, considering the fact that he has 58 million people, but he only ever manages to pull in, like, on average, like, a few days after he posts a video, like, a few million, you know, subs. Like, over time, it might rack up 10 or, you know, more million subs, but, like, when he releases a video, it only gets a few million to begin with, which
so, like,
means
sub
that his
count to viewership is really bad.
Yeah, like his views to sub count is really, really bad. Like, if he's at 58 million, he should be getting tens of millions of views on his videos when he releases them. But instead, he's getting like the same amount of views as like Markiplier, who has like, you know, 18 million. He'll get like a few, like, okay, like, take a YouTuber that has like 2 million, like 5 million subs. Let's say a YouTuber has 5 million subs and they release a video and they get 1, 2, or 3 million views on it within like a day or two after they release it. That's pretty good. And that's where they should be at, right? For their viewership versus sub count. PewDiePie gets about that much, but he has 58 million. That means he has a lousy, like, he has 58 million subs, but only like a few million subs that actually are active all the time.
Right. Like there's like the trendy people that just sub him because he's trendy to sub, but they never even seen you know, one of his videos.
Yeah. And that's not PewDiePie's fault. Because he used to, back when I started, have one of the best sub count to viewership ratio. Like, he had like one of the best, like, most of his subs would be watching his videos. And that was back when he was like really fresh, becoming famous and all that kind of stuff. But I think what's happened is most of the people that like have been watching him, and loyal people like me, you know, stay loyal like fans and watch all of his stuff. But like a lot of people probably just sub just because he's PewDiePie and he, you know, grew so big, like, and then they're like, oh, I got to sub to him because he has a really large sub count, but then they don't watch his stuff that often. And exactly, that's what ends up happening. So he has like a loyal pocket of a few million people that actually watch his stuff. And then like tens of millions of other people that maybe occasionally watch his stuff. but or just sub to him just because he got a lot of subs in the first place.
Yeah, I'm looking at his stuff right now, and it looks like for every he's averaging about, I'd say, 11,000 new subs a day. It makes you just want to fucking vomit.
Like, why though?
I know. Well, he's got, all right, so each video when he releases it is getting an average of like 6,000 hits a day. I mean, so I'm sorry, 6 million hits a day, almost 7 for a lot of them. And they're averaging out at 16,435,000. No, that's 16 billion. Holy shit. 435,411,670.
Yeah.
Holy
he has like
fuck.
16 billion total channel video views.
Total views.
So if you like take the views from all of the videos he's made so far on his channel,
Yeah.
and combine all the views he's gotten, he has 16 billion views.
I'll take 1,000th of that. I'll take a 1/10,000th of that. Jeez, that's amazing.
I mean, it's funny because most everyone else on YouTube that's famous is like only a few thousandths like as big as PewDiePie. Like PewDiePie isn't just famous, he's an anomaly because most of the people, like 99% of the people that are famous on YouTube aren't even close to PewDiePie. And these are like big people, like big name people with tremendous sub counts and tremendous view counts that we'd all be, you know, jealous of.
Well, like,
But
yeah,
like,
like
they're just dwarfed compared to PewDiePie. He's like a weird anomaly on YouTube.
yeah, that's what I was going to say, because like the biggest YouTuber that the people that like my stuff tend to gravitate to would be, I guess, out of that group of people, the biggest would be like Andy Worski with almost like a 250,000 subs. You know, he's not even, he hasn't even topped over 1 million yet. And I think he's starting to do this newer stuff and this talking to the SJWs and stuff to kind of reach out and get new viewers from the other side, because that's, you know, the way it's split up between anti-SJWs and SJWs, you know, that's, you know, if you've got one, if you're dealing with one audience, then, you know, there's that whole other audience that's, you know, that's the opposite, you know, the polar opposite that you're not, you know, that's not watching your stuff. So
right, you know, I would also like to see PewDiePie's age demographics, because I'm thinking he's pulling in the teen to the mid-20 crowd.
Yeah, you can, let's see, this stuff can be looked at as a user summary, future projections, detailed stats, stats.
That would make sense because like I would fit into that age bracket, because when I started watching him, it was when he was just becoming famous, and that was when I was like in middle school, so like in my early teens. And then I have continued to watch him ever since, and like I'm like 19 now. So I mean, like I would fit right into that, you know, like teenager to like 20-something bracket, which I think is his biggest bracket of people.
Right.
Because PewDiePie was like he's 27 now, I think, and he started doing this 7 years ago. So like
really?
He started doing this in his early 20s and stuff, and like so he's like pretty young.
Yeah, I was going to say the demo that they shoot for is the prime workforce demo, which would be the ages of 18 to 49, right? And so usually that's the demo box that they want that, you know. So I would imagine that his stuff would be more on the southern end, like on the youthful side of that. because it's like it's kind of like what Jack was saying. It's like, us older dudes, we're not really into him, and it's not because we just say, well, I'm just not going to watch fucking PewDiePie because he's PewDiePie. It's just that I'm just not drawn to necessarily to the subject matter. I don't know. Fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, if I look at my analytics, most of my viewers are mid 30s to the mid 40s.
Right.
So I guess it all depends on the type of content that you're putting out on who you want to connect with. And definitely the teen market to the mid 20s, early 30 market, that's huge. And that's why all the retailers always cater to the teens through the mid 20 range, because they want to get people hooked on that one particular product. And once they do, they have a loyal follower forever.
Right.
One of the things I think is hilarious that PewDiePie does now is the whole like you laugh, you lose challenge thing. Because he's like, oh, it's so original. No one's ever done it before. But he's like being super sarcastic about it. And then he like has, I don't know, it's just really funny to watch.
So, yeah, and the whole deal is you're not supposed to laugh, but of course you're going to because it's fucking funny as shit.
Well, and then he's always like really stupid about it too, but like on purpose in a funny way. Like he's like, the rule is simple. You laugh, you lose. And then at the end of every video, he's like, so did you laugh or did you lose? But if you stop and think about that statement, if the rule is simple, you laugh, you lose. And then he asks at the end, did you laugh or did you lose? If you laughed, then that would mean you lost, because if you laugh, you lose. But if you lost, that would mean you laughed. So like, it's like, what kind of a question is that? Did you laugh or did you lose? But I don't know.
Clever.
It's a funny thing though.
I get it. I get the attraction. I can see how.
A thing I miss that he used to do that he doesn't do anymore. Like back in the day, he did this, and it was like one of the best things ever. The Fridays with PewDiePie videos. Those were great, and now he doesn't even do them anymore.
Well, it's
and he needs to bring it back.
I was going to say that reminds me of like verbal slapstick almost. Does that make any sense? That description?
Yeah, I guess. Like,
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I kind of see what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know.
It would be comparable to like George Carlin. I would say.
Yeah.
Another funny thing about PewDiePie, and I think this is just coincidence, I guess, but like, and this isn't like supposed to be like an insult to PewDiePie or anything like that, but like he's changed his like the style of content, I guess, like how he goes about doing his content a little bit. Like there's been noticeable changes to the way he does videos and how he is in his videos over the last 7 years that he's been doing this.
Yeah.
And as someone that's been watching him for like a long time, and like seeing all the different stuff, since I've been watching him since like middle school, like 7th and 8th grade middle school, like it seems like his content has, like, as it's been changing, it's coincidentally been like the maturity of the comedy and like everything, just the way the content has been changing with me. Almost, it feels like as I mature, his videos have been changing, and like he's been changing up his videos in a way that just like keeps me hooked, because like I'm totally like he changes it in a way to where like the videos he makes now I might not have liked as much back when I was like in 7th and 8th grade, but I really like them now the way he does it.
Right.
But the videos he made back then like were perfect. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but just the way he behaved in the videos and the way it was, like, I just feel like he matures.
Yeah, he matured with his audience.
Yeah, which is like a weird thing to say, since he's like, He's like a little less than like 10 years older than me, I think. But
I mean, that's going to happen with
you know,
every content creator. Your stuff's going to change. It's going to evolve over time. You're going to get more experience.
Yeah.
So everything's going to, your demographics are going to change. Your content will change. Everything will change.
I'm just saying, but what I think was really coincidental, and I think what really helped to keep me hooked on PewDiePie, change in a way to where like he was maturing with me. So like it's like, I don't know, like I felt like I was
You could self-identify.
Yeah, like I could self-identify with him at all times. Like his content in 2012 matched like my like maturity level back then, but like it just keeps changing, and like in a way that like I feel like, wow, I can identify with him now and now and now. Like it's just like, I don't know, I think I've kind of just been lucky that like he's never really, I don't know, I think I've never really felt like he's been making content that wasn't like, oh, this isn't my kind of content, you know? I don't know.
I've watched his stuff. I really don't get it. It just seems like, I can see where some people would think it's fun. It just all seems a little childish to me, that's all. I like listening to calm stuff. Like the stuff I make.
Like he's one of the people, not one of the only ones, but one of the people that like I hope to be just as amazing content creator as him, because like I just love the way he does his videos, especially now. I don't know why. I just like find it really amusing the way he just, some of the things he just slips in there with the editing that he does, and just, I don't know, it's just all the little things he does in the videos that makes it entertaining to me.
Right. It's a lot of the pop culture references that you grew up with, Occam. Now, if I start mentioning stuff from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, it might go over your head. But someone like you start talking stuff about, you know, the early 2000s and, you know, after 2010 or whatever, it's probably going to go over my head because I don't follow the pop culture as much as I used to.
Oh my god, I'm one of those people where I'm just like, no, I get that reference. I know it's from the 50s, but I get that reference.
What are you cringing about?
I'm an old lady.
You're only as old as you feel.
Do you know what you should watch?
What?
Do you know what you guys should watch?
What?
No, I said you're only as old as you feel.
What should we watch?
One of my favorite videos that he put out recently, like he put this one out like 2 weeks ago, but I don't know why. This one was like one of my favorite that I've seen in a while. The game is titled, like, not the game, like the video is titled This Game is the True Meaning of Suffering, but it's where he's playing this amazing game where like you have to be this guy in like a pot or whatever with like a type of like a hammer or whatever, and you're climbing with the hammer over these obstacles, and it keeps getting more steep, and it's like really difficult. But if you fall, you could accidentally fall all the way back to the beginning, but it's really funny. It's way more funny than it sounds. Like it's where he's playing the game, but there's like, I don't know, I just like the way he edited the video. And really funny. It was probably one of my favorite videos I've seen him release in a little while.
If you like PewDiePie, you should check out, have you ever heard of Tear of Grace? Holy shit, he's funny. I actually really enjoy his stuff because his editor is amazing. He does a lot of Binding of Isaac, and he will play Sonic games just to make himself angry. Again, more interesting than it sounds. Or just like he played Dark Souls and the only weapon he used was a torch.
See,
why do I do this? Because I hate myself.
See, my favorite YouTubers, like, if you really want to get a feel for like the kind of content that I really like to watch on YouTube, and this is stuff I like to watch more than any of like the political channels or anything that, you know, that I do enjoy watching.
Mm-hmm.
This is the stuff I live for on YouTube. Like channels like PewDiePie. I really enjoy Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, John Tron, for sure. H3H3 Productions is really good.
Yeah.
I do
You'll
like
Face a lot, I think.
I do like iDubbbz. iDubbbz is really great. This is actually like gonna be a complete like, well, that's not like the others, but I really enjoy the Vsauce channels, like those guys that do like those science videos and stuff. And yeah, that's not really like the other channels I just mentioned, but I really enjoy the Vsauce like videos and stuff. Those are great.
What are those? Tell me about the Vsauce.
Like Michael Stevens, like, hey, Vsauce, Michael here. You've never seen those at all?
I'm not sure.
Vsauce is great. I love watching Vsauce.
I love Vsauce. Like, I could watch Vsauce for hours.
Hang on. What Vsauce is, Irate Prostate, is they get in depth with a lot of science and mathematic formulations.
Okay, cool.
So I mean, it's real great if you want to expend your mind.
Yeah, he's pretty big too. Like the main channel, like there's 3 Vsauce channels, and they're all pretty cool in their own way. But the biggest one, like the OG Vsauce guy, Michael Stevens, from the original Vsauce channel, that has like 12 million subs. Like, I think he's on the verge of breaking like the top 50 most subscribed to channel on YouTube, which is pretty cool considering he does like a lot more educational stuff. So the fact that like an educational channel is like that big is, I think, pretty cool, I guess. But like, he's really good at it though. Like, it's not educational in a boring way. It's really entertaining. Vsauce is absolutely fantastic at what they do.
So that sounds like that'd be up my alley. I've been
there's also
like
he has the most iconic video intro too. Just like, hey, Vsauce, Michael here. Like, that's basically a meme almost at this point. Like, I've seen so many videos where people just take that and use it as a meme. In fact, PewDiePie actually used that in a few videos before, where I've seen like he just randomly started the video with like, hey, Vsauce, Michael here, like at a random point in the video. It's like, what the heck? This isn't Vsauce. But
then there's the Today I Found Out channel.
Oh yeah,
you know, they get into a lot of obscure references and historical stuff. It gets interesting at times. Sometimes it's boring. You know, other big names out there is, you know, if you like the nature shows, Ants Canada. He's got a couple million views, and all he does is just farm. You know, does the whole ant colony thing.
Oh yeah.
And then there's Brave Wilderness with Coyote Peterson.
I don't know if I like Brave Wilderness so much, but if you guys like true crime and such, you should check out Criminally Listed, and they upload daily as well.
Oh, a good YouTuber for like crime and mystery stuff is Rob Dyke.
Yep, Rob Dyke is how I found the skeptic community somehow. I'm not sure how, but that's who it happened through.
Cool.
Sargon of Akkad is how I found that. But like, I'm gonna be honest, I do enjoy watching those videos, but that's probably like 1% of what I watch on YouTube. This is anything, and that's kind of why I wanted to leave that whole political realm of YouTube anyway, and why I privatized all my old content, and why there's like nothing on my channel now. But I'm going to start making videos.
You know,
I thought you were a whole part of the YouTube purge yesterday there, Occam. I was like, where's Occam's stuff?
Yeah. In case you're out of the loop, I decided I don't want to be a part of this whole political realm and stuff, especially since it's, I don't know, it seems like it's dying, but that's not the only reason. I just wasn't, I kind of like was half into it. Like, it's not like I didn't enjoy what I did when I did it, because otherwise I just wouldn't have done it. But like, I don't know. I enjoy political stuff. Like, trust me, I'm actually very into politics. It's just that when I'm on YouTube for years, like the content that I like to watch on YouTube is like the content I described to you before. Yeah. People like PewDiePie, JonTron, H3H3 Productions, just people that do funny stuff. Yeah, I enjoy that kind of stuff. And when I go on YouTube, like, that's the kind of stuff I want to make. I want to make stuff like that. So recently I've been going through Dual Wield's making me a brand new branding and stuff. Like, I'm keeping the name Occam's Razor, but like he's making me like a new little avatar. I'm not really going to use it in videos so much. It's just going to be for branding. I've already revealed my face and stuff like that on Twitter and everything. Like, and I'm going to start showing my face in videos and stuff. And I'm just going to start taking my channel in a different, more kind of just do what I want, entertainment style.
Fucking ditto. Amen.
Yeah, I think, I think everybody's kind of like made the same decision all at the same time. It's like, with all,
I want it to be special.
Yeah,
no,
but
kidding.
I think everybody kind of like got the, it's like, man, this shit's just like only going so far with this, and it's like everything political, all this politics stuff is like, there's nothing I can bring that's new to the table. I mean, shit. I mean, how many times can you say that Amos Yee is full of shit?
See, and part of the reason why I wanted to do it is because I'm like, oh man, I'm a newcomer in this whole YouTube thing, and if I'm going to try to go the political route, like, it's just only so much. I felt limited because it's like, oh, you got to focus on what's happening. Like, it's all like the structured stuff. This is what's happening. You can't control what's happening in the world. So then you got to be looking out for what's happening in the world. And then you got to try to hope that you get to it before everyone else. But every time, everyone always beats you to everything. And it just is stressful and not fun. So, but like, if you're doing creative entertainment, it's all up to you. Like, you could make whatever you want. Like, the world is open. You come up with a crazy, wacky idea for a video. It could be about something insane that you made up. It could just be something unique and cool that you enjoy making, and it's going to entertain you at least, and hopefully other people. But like, that's kind of like what I was like aiming for, just that kind of, it's not going to be stressful anymore as much because like I have full creative liberty over my videos. I don't have to worry about, oh, what is everyone else making a video about, because it's my own video. I doubt people are going to enter in my mind and see, oh, he's making a video like this, versus the news thing where everyone's looking at the same time and then they all latch onto the same thing. I want to completely get away in the YouTube realm from all that political stuff. I'm trying to disassociate myself from being a political YouTuber, essentially.
Well, I mean, I think that's what the idea behind this thing, the Creem stream, is like to have like, if a place to do all that stuff. If there is something political to talk about, this is kind of like a more, this is a better forum to do it in. Because it's like, because everybody's going to cover it, but it's like, I think that when you've got a bunch of people, that are talking about the same thing in, from different perspectives and stuff, it brings a different, a different approach to the whole deal. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's a once a week deal. And then that way, so if there's anything that we want to talk about, we bring it here. And then the rest of the rest of our channel time we can devote to to doing what we want to do. There's a couple of side projects. There's this thing that I'm doing with Thorn. There's a side project that I'm talking with Geek Thulu about. And then there's my drunk Alex Jones shit. It's like, so, and that's comedy. That's pure comedy. And this is I think this is a perfect outlet, doing this every week, to talk about, funny shit or what, just whatever hits us. And if something in the news or that's political, that's just, overwhelming, we get a chance to talk that. Other than that, Sargon's got us covered, man. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yes. Now, if go on, Lady Thorn. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I can't watch Sargon. I've tried.
Really, Sargon is what introduced me to this whole realm. Anyway, like I actually like Sargon.
I find him extremely dry. I like Undoomed and Suit Yourself.
Undoomed was the first person I ever subbed to. But you know who the best YouTube creator is out there right now is?
Undoomed. Yes.
No, it is Irate Prostate, because he is hosting us.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
I love Undoomed.
dude.
No, he talks.
Irate.
Yeah.
You have almost 250, dude. I was like looking, and I'm like, you know how I'm doing this whole switch over thing to my new content and stuff. So I privatized all my old content. I did get a camcorder, so hopefully I'm gonna have the video out. You know,
Yeah.
going in my new style of video that I'm doing, in this within this next week, because I have my camcorder now and everything. But I'm like freaking out because I'm like, oh no, I gotta try to like get these new videos out, rebuild my reputation as something else than I've been before, and try to maintain my subscriber base and hopefully grow it. And I'm like, but I have nothing on my channel now, and I'm freaking out that I'm gonna lose subs and stuff. And then like sure enough, like I look and I'm like, I'm down 1 sub from where I was. I'm like, oh no, I'm at 221. I'm like, I wonder what Irate's doing. And then you were like at like what, 248 or something. I'm like, oh man.
Oh yeah.
Things have really
I'm at
changed.
248.
I remember back when I was like 3 times bigger than you. Remember a few months ago when we met?
man.
I was like 3 times bigger than you, and I was just starting out and stuff. Like 2 weeks after I started it, I was like at over 100 subs and everything. And then like now, it's all because of, like, I don't have anything up there though. I quit growing because
it's hard to grow with no content.
Well, and you got to stay out there, man. A lot of this stuff, man, every one of these subs that I've gotten, I have busted my ass to get, either by making videos or by just, showing up in streams and saying hi to people and making friends. Jack T. Ripper, I met him at the Fright Supremacy stream, hanging out with those guys, man. It's a fright power, motherfuckers, and all hell blue whale and all that, man. That's hilariously fun stuff. It's crazy.
See, I am hopeful
you meet awesome people.
I'm at Tonka and Vamp.
Yeah, exactly. See, go ahead.
I am hopeful for my channel though. I don't think I think I'm actually going to do way better than I ever have. Because I think I'm going to make some pretty funny videos here soon.
Here's the thing about doing what you want. I think that the people that sub to you will see that, the love and passion is there, and you're probably going to get more subs on something you enjoy doing than on something
and here's another thing, though. Before, all my subs, like, I couldn't just go to, like, YouTube and be like, hey, guys, come check out my stuff, because my stuff was, like, super specific to, like, most of the people that like would have to either be interested in this genre that I was in, right? And then like on top of that, probably like they'd want to agree with me or something like that before they subbed. So it was more difficult. But now I feel like because like I'm in a way more wide open genre now of YouTube video, to where I feel like I can like reach out to way more different areas of YouTube than just the pocket that I was in of like, people that were subbing to all these political channels. So I feel like I have a way broader pool of people now that I could search for it and go, hey guys, check out my stuff, than I had before.
Right.
And if it's any good, then, hopefully I'll start building up more people. And, it won't just be people that were in the genre that I was in, Like,
yeah.
Now, another YouTuber y'all might want to check out, he does some really wild videos. If you haven't heard of him, Bill Wirtz.
Yeah, and the quartering. As a matter of fact, he's going to be our guest next week, Occam. He was anointed by Sargon and Bering. Go to his page. I mean, it's fucking for real. He had made a joke earlier in the week about somebody calling themselves the Anointed, and I don't know. I said something to him about him now being the Anointed because of Sargon and Bering. He had done a stream with them or something. I can't remember exactly how it worked. And he thought that was funny. And so when we started talking in DMs and shit, and so he's going to be here next week.
I actually do have to run.
Okay. Yeah, we got 10 minutes. And if you want to say night, I will see you for sure on Monday about this time.
Yeah, we'll be starting about this time. So I will see you Monday for movie night.
That's right. Cabin
Monday
under
movie
Dr.
night.
Caligari. That's right.
Yes.
Fun. It's going to be a fun
And I actually just posted a video today, so you guys should check it out.
Yes. The scary story.
Scary story. All right.
Right.
Good night.
All right. Take
Good night, Lady Thorn.
Good night.
Good night.
Take care, Thorn.
Bye.
And then there were 3.
And there were 3.
Well, this may be a good place to just go ahead and stop for the, for the evening, and like they
All
say,
right.
quit while we're ahead, and leave everybody wanting more.
Sounds good to me.
But so if anybody doesn't have anything to say, we'll just we'll go ahead and end that. You want to show your stuff, Jack?
Yeah, subscribe to me over at Jack T Ripper KHIV News, and follow me on Twitter on Jack T Ripper 121. If you like, most of my content is organic. I rarely do any editing or political commentary. It's just whatever I feel that's on my mind. So if you like organic stuff, follow my stuff.
Sweet, cool. All right, Akam.
Well, hopefully I'll have my first video since I've restarted doing stuff differently on my channel. So I'll actually have some content on there hopefully soon. And I have 221 subs. Please come join my my Razor army, please. Just sub to me. Trust me. It will maybe even be hip and cool, just check it out. You'll see when it gets there. Just trust me.
Certified fresh, hip, and cool. That's right. And as Irate Prostate, I'm going to have stuff that'll be coming out this week. Just ring the bell down there, and click the button, and then it goes into a little box. And make sure you check the thing in the box. You'll get notified every time I drop something. And please like this stuff. That's how we get noticed, and how we get how the algorithm tries to figure out what to do with us. So I appreciate it, everybody, for sticking out through it. And this is Irate Prostate. Another Creem stream is in the bucket.